Do you suffer from a deep, nagging ache in your shoulder? Does the pain get worse at night and make it impossible to get a good night's sleep? And on top of that, do you have limited range of motion and weakness anytime you try and lift your arm? Well, if so, you could have a rotator cuff tear, and you need to see this video, because I'm about to cover a critically important contributor to these kinds of problems that no one is talking about. And it just so happens that this factor can make all the difference when it comes to successfully overcoming a rotator cuff tear, whether you're going the rehab route or the surgery route. To say that rotator cuff tears are a common injury is an understatement. This is the most common tendon injury in the entire body, and it's one of the most common causes of disability in people over the age of 50. Before we get too far into this topic, it's important that we go over some of the basics, starting with what the heck is the rotator cuff? The rotator cuff is a group of 4 muscles and their tendons that surround your shoulder joint. Their primary job is to keep the ball of your shoulder joint pressed firmly into the socket. This helps to ensure the stability, functionality, and health of the most mobile joint in your body. The strange thing is that for as common a problem as rotator cuff tears are, it's very difficult to get a straight answer as to why these kinds of injuries happen so frequently, and why so many of them are non-traumatic in nature. The answers that we hear most commonly are that they're the result of wear and tear that happens slowly over time, or that because the tendons of the rotator cuffs lose their vascularity as we age, it causes those tissues to dry out, and this predisposes them to tearing. And while there's validity to both of those answers, there's something else, something concrete that has been demonstrated repeatedly in the scientific literature that predisposes the rotator cuff to tearing. In this 2015 study that was published in the Journal of Shoulder and Elbow Surgery, the researchers did diagnostic ultrasounds on 379 people with and without shoulder pain to determine whether or not they had a rotator cuff tear. In addition to that, all of these people were given a thorough postural assessment where they were classified into one of 4 categories. It was either ideal alignment, aka normal posture, flat back, sway back, or kyphotic lordotic posture. And what they found is that the incidence of rotator cuff tears in people with normal alignment was less than 3%, while in those with abnormal alignment, the incidence of rotator cuff tears was 16 to 22 times higher. The final breakdown for rotator cuff tears in this study was as follows. For people with ideal alignment, the incidence was, like I said, 2.9%. For people with a flat back posture, the incidence was 54%. For people with a sway back posture, it was 49%. And for those with a kyphotic lordotic posture, the incidence was a whopping 66%. And in this 2018 study, researchers took 192 people, all of whom had rotator cuff tears that had been confirmed using MRI imaging, and they gave them a detailed postural analysis with the aid of lateral x-rays. What they found is that over 70% of these people with diagnosed rotator cuff tears had that exact same kyphotic lordotic posture. The overall conclusion from this study was that thoracic hyperkyphosis was associated with a markedly high rate of rotator cuff tears. Now let me show you what all of these abnormal postures have in common. When looking at the body from the side, a normal posture, or what the researchers in the first study referred to as ideal alignment, would be defined as the gravity line passing directly through the center point of the body, splitting the body into equal halves, front and back. In practical terms, this means that a vertical line dropped down through the whole of the ear would pass directly through the center point of the shoulder, directly through the hip, and through the ankle into the floor. But if you look at a kyphotic posture, you can see that the head is pushed out in front of the gravity line and the middle back is pushed backwards. You see that exact same thing in a flat back and a sway back posture. The head is pushed forward, the middle back pushes backwards. Now here's the thing. As the head pushes out in front of the gravity line, it becomes 10 pounds heavier for each inch that it moves forward. And to compensate for all of that extra weight out in front of you that's pulling you forward and down, what the body will intelligently do is it'll begin shifting the middle back backward in an attempt to bring the body back into balance and to prevent you from falling on your face. But watch what happens to the shoulders as the middle back goes backwards. They protract, push forward, and they move into internal rotation like this, which places a significant stretch on the muscles of the rotator cuff that are responsible for external rotation. And so being in this position puts all of those muscles into a weakened, mechanically disadvantageous position where they are far more likely to be damaged. And in spite of a widespread lack of recognition, it's clear that the postural component is a major contributor to the high incidence of rotator cuff tears. And failing to address this component may also help to explain why the re-tear rate following successful rotator cuff surgery is as high as 94%. And this is why the reestablishment of normal upright posture should be considered an essential part of any rotator cuff rehabilitation program. It's also why this type of training is so valuable as a preventative strategy for anyone looking to avoid rotator cuff problems in the first place. There's an old saying that where the head goes, the body follows, and this is true both metaphorically and literally. Watch a gymnast or a diver do a backflip and notice how the head whips back first to initiate that movement. You see the exact same thing with figure skaters when they're doing a spin. The head whips to the side and then the body follows. And you know what? The exact same thing is true when it comes to your posture. And by far the best and most effective way of restoring normal upright posture is to bring the head back into ideal alignment with the gravity line and then let the rest of the body follow suit. This is the active traction unit, and this simple device was designed for one purpose. And that is to help you systematically and progressively strengthen all of the muscles of your postural uprighting system to bring your head back into ideal alignment with the gravity line and keep it there for a lifetime. And the way the active traction unit works is the exact same way that strength training works in any other muscle group in the body. You simply challenge the muscles to do a little bit more work than they're used to doing, and then slowly and consistently build that up over time, and the body responds by getting stronger. Only instead of building stronger leg muscles that allow you to go up the stairs easier, or stronger arm muscles that allow you to lift groceries easier, you're going to be building the muscles that are responsible for holding your body up against gravity. For more information on the active traction unit, click the link in the upper right-hand corner of your screen now for a video that talks all about it. And if you're interested in simple bodyweight exercises that you can use to strengthen your posture and improve your alignment, I've got a whole bunch of those on this channel, and I'll put links for some of them in the description down below. Be sure to check those out. Beyond that, I just want to thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button and the subscribe button before you head out of here, and I'll see you next time.